Oh, it says we're live. Okay, so
Yeah,
Amy,
we're
this is your rodeo, Amy. I'm a
You're my
guest on
special
your
guest.
show, on my feed, but I'm on your show.
That's
All
right.
right. So
Thank you so much, Jamie. So cheers, everyone. I am Amy Mitchell with Houses of Windsor, and what you're watching is called Virtual Tea Time with Amy and Special Guest. And today my special guest is Jamie. Jamie was nice enough. I was having some technical difficulties between Zoom and Facebook Live, but for whatever magical reason, Jamie's wanted to work. So Jamie's helping me out here. So we're mixing it up, going over on the guest Facebook Live. So so Amy with Houses of Windsor, virtual tea time. And to start things off, Jamie, welcome. And what are you drinking?
okay, so today, Amy, usually I'm not a tea drinker. All
Correct.
right, I've become a true Yank. All right, so I drink coffee usually, but today, in honor of you, okay, my mum, as it's called, not M-O-M,
That's right,
M-U-M,
your
my mum
mom.
has gave me these the London Cuppa.
I
All
love
right,
it.
and it's a fine tea, especially selected and blended in London, England. So I felt appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel very proper drinking a cup of tea.
That's perfect.
So,
I love it. And I have had that kind. Yeah, that one, that's a good, like, solid black tea. But
you know the teas better than I could ever dream to know teas.
right. And today I'm drinking just a classic Twinings Earl Grey. So I'm not at my home. I'm at my side job. So I have to carry my tea bags on the go. But so, okay. So I like to say, where are you calling from?
Where am I calling from?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not originally from where I'm calling from, but I'm calling from Orlando, Florida. Okay, I love where I live. I've got a nice little dog park behind my house where I'm keeping my sanity throughout this period. So, and I've been here 24 years now. So
Okay. Okay, nice. And you have a new dog, right, for this dog park?
I have a puppy named
Puppy.
Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got two names. He's Bruce when he's behaved, and it's
Mm-hmm.
short for Bruce Banner. So if he messes around, he's the
Mm-hmm.
Hulk.
Okay.
All right, but most of the time, thankfully, so far, he's been
He's
Bruce.
just
So
Bruce, yeah.
yeah,
Because you said he's still a puppy, but how big is he now? How much is he weigh?
he's getting close. He's getting close to 40 pounds at the minute.
Okay.
So, but and we can thank Junior Palaya from our BNI
Oh,
group
yes.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
But originally, I wanted just a 30-pound dog, all right, maximum,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not working out that way. So
That's not the direction you're going in.
no.
No. Yes. Well, yeah, great. Yeah, good shout out to Junior Palaya of our BNI group, JMP Law. And, but okay, so that brings me, to how we know each other. So
Okay.
we are in BNI together, but that's not how we know each other. We actually
No.
met at a random networking event, right, for the British American Chamber of Commerce. And
Yes.
what was that now? Was that last summer?
That was at Rio. No, you know what? Rio Peanut. It was back in. I want to say August. All right. It
Okay,
was like
in the summer,
yeah, and I ended up running into you and being like, "This girl is more British than I am."
I know. I
All right,
love
that
you.
literally went through my mind.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a big compliment for me. But I love when you call yourself a Yank and how you got yourself a big truck just because that's what Americans do.
Oh, I'm a proud American, y'all. No, that's about the most I do as an accent. Like I can't imitate
Yes.
at all.
Well, it's just like I feel British, but I don't do an accent. A lot of people tell me I need to work on an accent. I'm like, whoa.
I think you live authentic. Listen, you do very well for yourself. You got invited on the news. It's great having a client who's famous, Amy, out there. So I love that about myself. Like,
Thank you.
I mean, it's actually fascinating when I tell people about you. They're like, so who are your clients, Jamie? I'm like, well, I've got a tea hostess. They're like, you what? I'm like, I've got a tea hostess. She holds high tea events and she teaches people proper etiquette around tea time. And so
that's a good point. So I'm also a client of yours as well as a fellow BNI member now. We're our lives are very intertwined.
which you introduced me to. Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's phenomenal. You had Jeff Singletary on the other day, and like he's a hard act to follow. Everyone was preaching how amazing he was on your show yesterday. I'm just like, great. Like I have to live up to Jeff Singletary. That's not hard. That's not an easy act to follow. If Jeff is watching right now, I'm sure he's chuckling away at a comment like that.
Jeff. Yeah, Jeff is the master. You have to find me one moment. It's like something on my.
Okay.
There we go.
There
All of
you
a sudden
go.
there was like a little fuzzy thing.
Yeah, I noticed that a little bit too.
Okay. But anyway, yeah. So Jamie, what do you do? What do you tell?
What do I do? Oh, what do I do? You know how I answer this question.
I know.
Like, everyone gets asked, what do you do? Or tell me about yourself, you know? And so the idea is to always try and tell people what they value about me. I will pose it in question format, because otherwise if I didn't, I wouldn't really be too good at practicing what I preach. If I was to ask your viewers, the people watching your tea time events, if they felt that the ability to communicate is an important thing and knowing how to do it, and particularly given the fact that we can't do face-to-face communication, it even elevates even more where we need to be really good when it comes to our email game, our phone calls, and when we get the chance to do this kind of interaction. I even notice as I'm saying certain things, I'm watching your body language, Amy, your head's nodding up and down. And no, but if it can be a tip that people like PG tips. No, if it can be a tip that people can, your audience might not know that. They know PG
yeah, sorry,
tips?
that was a British tea joke, guys.
Yeah, so
I know
PG tips. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, like, I'm glad the word PG is in there, because they might get a different. Some of your viewers might be like, "What kind of tips are they? What kind of tips are they talking about?"
Like, it's PG, guys.
Yeah. PG is
awesome.
a brand of tea. Okay. Amy, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. It looks like you. It looked like you froze for a second.
Oh, okay.
So the tip is this: if we know we can't get face-to-face physically, we have to elevate face-to-face virtually. And that will, there's nothing wrong with selling something these days. It's how people are going about it.
Right.
And so if we know, though, that factually we can't get in face-to-face physically, your emails, your phone calls, you want to elevate your game and get someone. The perfect sale is to get them into a dialogue so you can see their expressions. You can see if they're being cold to what you're sharing, see if you're being warm to what you're sharing. So hopefully that can hit home. Like, people comment, I'm probably the one who should be seeing the comments because it's on my Facebook feed, but I haven't got Facebook. I've got Zoom up. So.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, because the Zoom's up, we can't see the comments. I know. I'm gonna become more of a pro with this, where I'll have like the phone up so I can like watch comments over here, and like. But I know Sherry does that. Coach Sherry Summers. It's
interesting. We were talking about that before. We were talking about that earlier, and it's something to be said for. It's not about being social media gurus, right? Like, it's not like we've got like millions of followers who are like, oh, let's plug into Amy at tea time or Jamie. Like, the notion for me is, are you remaining relevant during this time? Are we doing things so that when it ends, people can be like, you know what, they showed up. Amy, you got all dressed up. Look at you, like you look the part. You're drinking tea. No, it's very. I'm wearing a shirt. There's not. There's a notion of what did you do during that time, and so I think these are fascinating. But it goes to the point of, I'm not really technologically savvy myself. I had to learn, how do you stream from Zoom to Facebook, and I had to go and there was education that had to go into that. Which feels like when you're doing that stuff, it's like, is this productive? And then it's kind of like a necessary thing that you have to do to learn it, to do it. And so if that can help people, I think everyone out there should be doing this kind of stuff and getting comfortable, and it's kind of like a worthwhile challenge.
Exactly. Don't fight it.
We didn't give up. We didn't just say, oh, Amy, you can't do it from your end. Let's not do this. Yeah. So I think that business and people who do business, they have to face some adversity and they have to come through it the other side. So hopefully people can maybe be like, you know what, they've made mistakes galore, but they're still.
And I agree with you. Well, I was gonna say, with the communication part, that's what I'm doing. Like with my virtual tea times, is I'm, broadcasting, communicating with a new person every time. And I'm having a blast doing it. This is awesome. I love doing it.
That's you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
We're having fun. We're having laughter. We're cracking up.
Right.
You know, I was going to joke with you about the whole, because I read one of your email posts that went out there, and I must say, it's not to come across as arrogant. All right, this next comment. However, I know that you had a thing for Prince William back in the day, and that got you all into this. He has not aged very well. All right, like, so what's actually, do you have the same has he still grown on you as a result of because of the caliber of person he is? Okay.
I still I like him as a person. Like, I like who he is, but it's not like the physical attraction that there was when he was.
Yeah, he was a cute.
It was like
he was a cuter looking kid.
Yeah, it was like up to 21. And I feel like I can say the underage years because I was underage at the time. Ages like 16 to 21, even probably up to 25. Those were like his golden years. And then it started to be like, oh, like his hair is kind of got but he got Kate. So now it's like, I mean, they were a beautiful couple. And now it's like Kate continues to be beautiful. And William's just lucky. So that's my take on Prince William.
I don't know if this is the place to have the debate on whether I don't know if it's tasteful or not to talk about Harry.
Let's talk about him. Yeah. So Harry, I gotta say.
Yeah, but what about if someone doesn't believe that Harry might? Oh.
That doesn't believe what?
Zoom stopped working.
I know. Yeah, it's like we froze up for a minute. Okay, you're there.
But it still says I'm live. It still says I'm live on Facebook on my screen.
Yeah. So we probably just like glitched on Facebook. I think we're okay. But what was it? So what were you saying about Harry though?
You know what I'm going to say about Harry. You've heard, and
you
would like me to go there.
Let's go there.
I don't know if I'll insult everybody that I know back in the UK or I never. Is it like politics and religion? You're meant to not talk about certain topics like that.
Like the royal family. That one's like everyone seems to be fair game with it.
Okay, it wouldn't. I'll put it this way. I'll be diplomatic. Okay. No one knows anything factually. It wouldn't. There is some conspiracy theories out there that I didn't come up with. That Prince Harry is not, in fact, Prince Charles's son.
Right.
All right. So I'll let that get
people,
absorbed by your audience.
For some people.
Like if they can go and look up online and make their own. I tell you what. Here's what's best. Anyone who's watching who's intrigued by what was just shared, go online and Google. That and see if you come to any conclusions that in your mind that could tell you, you know what, he might not be Prince Charles's son. So
but I will say the other day, and I know what you're talking about, and I've seen the pictures.
And what's your thoughts on those pictures?
It's quite a coincidence, but I was looking at pictures the other day, and now I can't remember which pictures it was, but it was Harry standing in a certain angle, like with Prince Philip, his grandfather, and I saw similarities there. So I thought, you don't always look just like your dad. I don't know. I think they still
look. Like I said, I didn't say categorically. I backtracked and realized that there was a better, more diplomatic way to share. Right, that Harry, indeed, there might be more to the story with that. So.
But it's okay. I mean, but if that's the case, though, then it makes it even more okay that he's no longer, a senior royal of the royal family. Because
I know that's what you got invited to talk about as a correspondent. I was loving that. The more you can get invited on there, the more special I feel because I know you.
Thank you. Well, yeah.
You even have a smiley face in my phone.
Really?
By your by your name. It's like all my clients. They get smiley faces. I don't know if you can make. Can you see the smiley?
Oh, I can see it.
Amy T hostess.
I see it.
All right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you've got a smiley face. You can call me anytime, and it's going to be like, oh, smiley face.
Awesome.
Okay, so.
Yeah, this one's. Yeah, you can answer that call.
Yeah. It's I've always been happy to get that call.
Right. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you.
Especially when you become famous as a Fox News correspondent on the royal family.
That's right. I know. Well, yeah, that was such a delight, and hopefully I'll be back on there when there's more royal news. So speaking of the royals and fun stuff with the royals, my current minor obsession is the show on Netflix called The Windsors. Have you seen this at all, or seen their ad for
Do you
it?
know what? I must admit, I haven't
Hmm.
seen it. However, I did hear you talk because I watched I
Yes,
knew I
with
had to
Jeff.
live up. I knew I had to live up to Jeff Singletary, so I was going to give myself the fighting chance. I'm viewing the competition beforehand. All right. No, there's no competition. All right. Uh, I was viewing it and I heard you talk about how they've done some slapstick humor
Hmm.
on the royals, and you can absolutely tell who's who and
Yes.
what's going on and what the story is. No, I have not watched it yet. However, I'm scared to admit that
Hmm.
maybe I'm amateur American because I did watch Tiger King.
Oh
So,
my gosh, which was so good.
however, you asked me earlier, like Jamie, before the show, like what is something someone doesn't know, and
Yeah.
there's, are you familiar that like London is like there's different sides to London? So if you talk West London,
Hmm.
that's one type of individual.
Right.
When you talk East London, it's a very different kind of individual. Are you
I
familiar with the term?
know I know there
Yeah.
are different pockets, but I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with what the reputation is for each pocket.
Well, should we go there so you
Yes,
can
let's
get
go there.
maybe?
Yeah, I
All right,
love I
let's
love
go there. Okay.
I love hearing British people do the different regional accents, because it's here, for Americans, we've got a bunch of different ones. But if you're outside of America, you basically only either hear a country accent or Valley Girl. You don't hear anything in
Okay.
between. So,
Well, I've been blessed. My mum sent me to elocution lessons. Do you remember the play My Fair Lady? You ever hear
yeah,
the
I've seen
play?
it once.
Okay, it, okay. Well, it's a girl on the common girl on the streets gets taken by the doctor of elocution to learn how to speak properly.
Hmm.
Well, I'm the male version of that. So I was brought up in the not so posh part of London
Right.
and taught how to. Oh, hello! It's so jolly nice to meet you. The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. Or 33,000 theatre goers thronged to see the thriller.
Oh
Right,
my
and
gosh,
it was a very like I had
that's
to learn how to.
amazing.
Over here, I've had to tone down my accent so people can understand me.
Hmm.
But when I go back to England, I speak in there's some friends I speak in a Cockney
Hmm.
dialect. There's Cockney rhyming slang.
Yes,
All
and
right, and
I don't know how to do it, but I'm aware that it
no,
exists.
if I
It's too
spoke in it,
hard.
it would be what's called red arrows to you, or
Okay.
you wouldn't have a Scooby Doo what I'm going on about. Okay,
I
because
love it.
Scooby Doo is part of slang. Scooby Doo,
Hmm.
clue. You wouldn't have a clue. All right,
Oh, right,
so it's
right.
all like your face is your boat.
Hmm.
Amy, you got a lovely boat, which means you got a lovely face. Boat, race, face.
Oh
Your
my gosh.
hair is your barnet. Barnet, fair hair.
Oh
And
my
just
gosh.
so BNI people that are watching this right now and being
Hmm.
like, what is Jamie going on about? Go and type in on Google, or anyone who's watching, go and type in on Google,
Hmm.
Cockney English slang. Cockney, Cockney.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Notice I said that very fast, so it
Yes.
wasn't like taken out of context. All right. Cockney English
Yes.
slang, and you can learn how to speak on certain expressions.
How long would it take to fully learn it for an
Oh,
outsider,
you could,
or do you have to just grow up in
you
it?
could. It's not about growing up in it. It was actually founded as a language by criminals, so that when they talked
Oh.
before the police were going to interrogate them,
Hmm.
they wouldn't understand what was being said. That's where it originally stemmed from,
Oh, that's
and then it
awesome.
just became an East London dialect.
Hmm.
Right. So you're born in what's called the sound of the Bow Bells. When you're
Hmm.
born in the sound of the Bow Bells, that means you are a Cockney.
Okay.
So
And so that's you. You're East.
uh, I'm an East London boy. I was raised in a town. I was raised in a town called Wanstead, and
Okay.
Wanstead is on the borders of Essex and
Hmm.
East London. But it isn't East London. Wanstead is indeed East London.
Hmm.
However, it borders right on Essex.
Okay.
And I went to school in Walthamstow. But the school, here's a note. You said you wanted known facts from people who won't know.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
school address, I went to a school called Forest School, right? And
Hmm.
Forest School, for the address, it used to say Forest School, near Snaresbrook. All right, it's in Walthamstow. All right, because you don't want to say it's in Walthamstow. So the address was Forest School near NEAR was written in the address
Right.
Snaresbrook,
Oh
and
my
then the
gosh,
rest of the address.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was
Just
like
because you
because
didn't want to write.
we were meant to. No, that was the school because we were a public independent school, meaning we used to play sports against Eton, where Prince William and Prince Harry went, like where they wear the morning tails. We didn't wear morning tails and hats, but
Right.
we were a public independent school.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
I don't think I've shared stuff like that
No,
ever
I didn't know.
over here. So thank you for giving me the excuse to do that.
Absolutely.
Amy.
Well, yes, I should make note that you are my first British guest on Virtual Tea Time. So cheers to that.
Cheers. Cheers.
That's a real treat for Virtual Tea Time to have an actual Brit on here, even if you halfway identify a Yank.
Oh, I'm a full Yank.
Okay.
Well, I believe, I believe when you're, when in Rome, like so I come over here, I live here, I don't expect America to change because I move here. It's kind of like I accept the culture and everything, pledge allegiance to the flag. I've got 2 kids who are born and raised here. I do drive a truck. Lots of people, there's lots of people who see some of my videos are like, dude, you got a truck? I'm like, yeah. They're like, I would never have envisioned, when you first moved out here, they're like old college friends are like, wow, Jamie's got a truck.
That's great. Do they expect you to like crawl out of a Mini Cooper or what?
I don't know. I just think that I think different things are important to you at different stages of life. And I just got myself to a place where it's like, I like the idea of feeling high up like a man in my truck.
So what is, you're mentioning like your friends and stuff. I always find this interesting. What is, in your friend group, what are like you known for? Like, what is the thing that people would say about you and your friend group? Not like mean, but like for me, whatever, I'm like the tea lady or like the Christmas nut or whatever. Like, what's your thing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you believe that my friends think I'm very outgoing, Amy?
I would believe that.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so I'm not this. I wasn't the shy. So it's very interesting because I don't believe in it anymore. However, growing up, and it was something that was instilled in me by my dad. He was a very colourful, kind of larger than life character. Did some interesting kind of business. All right, he was kind of like, I do what I do, so you don't have to do what I do, kind of thing. All right, and what was interesting, Amy, growing up, is he instilled a confidence in me. Like I was the one when there's a line outside the door for a club, I wasn't queuing up. I was walking straight up to the bouncers and giving it, hello, how you doing? All right, like and having, and it was thing was called gift of the gab. You either had it or you didn't. And now at this stage, given what I do for a living, I truthfully have removed. I don't believe in gift of the gab. And I'll tell you for why. I've made it into a way that there are actual formulas that can be actually learned and taught, so people can. So when you do your posts, you like me, you're building rapport with people. That's not a gift of the gab thing. It's something that every single person on the planet can internalize for themselves and do. So what I was known for was pretty much probably gift of the gab. Yeah. However, I've transcended from that point. To some people knew me and some people would say I'm not as great at football, all right, as them. Some people would say I'm very good at football. It's and football, like anything, is there's lots of opinions and different what they say about opinions. So all right, like so.
What's your opinion of your own football skill?
My own opinion of my own football skills. I played the game at a level that I wanted to play it at. I took it as far as I wanted to take it, is one thing I would say. I would say, I had the blessing, I've got a program at home where I played in the independent England schoolboy setup with a guy called Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard right now is one of the most capped England players, and he's manager of Chelsea Football Club, and he earns fortunes, and he earned fortunes kicking a ball around. And so there are always sometimes thought processes that go through your mind. What could have been if you would have pursued something? The truth, I knew at 13 I wanted to move out to America. Well, I knew at younger than 13. I just knew at 13 I needed to get a scholarship for soccer. All right, over here. All right, so I knew the how part. But I wanted to move out here ever since I'd come on holiday, and my mum would play Neil Diamond Coming to America in the car growing up, and I just was fascinated by it. And now my sister lives in Chicago. My mum's moved out here to be near the grandkids. I set the trend.
Yeah,
Amy.
you did. Yeah, I know. That's awesome. But that's
invasion of the Brits, but we've all become Yanks.
Right. So how did you know, like, before traveling here, like, what was it besides the song, I guess, that you just wanted to come
my
here?
mum. Oh, okay. So I don't share this a lot, actually, funny enough. So I grew up with 4 mums.
Oh,
all right?
Okay.
And the way, I'll elaborate. So my mum is the youngest of 4 sisters. All right. So it was like the baby's having a baby, and her sister is 18 years older. Like it's the oldest one. So when I was a baby and I was in my crib, I had 3 mothers all looking over the crib, and then one of my mothers 4 lived out here in Florida. So we would come out and stay with Auntie Leslie, all right, and she was my aunt who lived in. So when I came to college at Rollins, she lived in Boca Raton. So I would drive down there, and she would treat me like a mum out here. But whenever I came to Florida on holiday, I was like, oh, I totally want to live in America. Like everyone, I don't know if people know this, but in England, when you're growing up and you came to America on holiday, this was the big deal. I don't think it's the same today, but when you came to America on holiday, you were expected to go home and you went back to school, and you were meant to have like the Reebok pumps, all right? You're meant to have Bubblicious bubblegum.
Really?
And you're meant to have been able to tell everyone in school about a movie that you saw, because movies traditionally came out here like months before they came out in the UK.
Oh my
God. So you got this, and so that was the privilege. But today I think movies come out very similar timing, so it's not such a big discrepancy. Everyone in America thinks that everyone in England is royalty. Like they'll come up to me, oh, do you know? I'm like, absolutely, I do. Like I would. My cousin Gary would tell people when I was 15, I'd come in on holiday. He'd say, "This is my cousin. He's royalty," and people would actually believe me. I would say, "Yes, Auntie Di and Uncle Charles, they're having some real marital problems at the moment, and Cousin Wills and Cousin Harry are having a torrid time dealing with that." And there was some, but here's the problem: English people had never came to America.
Right.
The only thing they saw about America was Jerry Springer. So they thought everyone in America was what you saw in Jerry Springer. I know you're nodding your head no, and I know different.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, I'm not surprised. Like, I get it. That's what Americans, like, that's, like, what we're known for out there in the world. And you're right. Yeah, like, Americans think that all British people are, like, classy and posh and whatever, and it's like
they think I'm the smartest, but they think I'm the smartest person on the planet just based on me opening my mouth.
Right.
My friends in political science classes in college, they hated it because they're like, even when you're wrong, you sound like you're right. And
That's
so
amazing.
I've been told I can swear, curse. I literally have to curse like I'm an American to make it sound like it's actually vulgar.
That's awesome. So what do your kids think? Do they say much about your accent? Like, do they wish they had one, or
they imitate, because their mum's British too. So
I forgot that.
My son Harrison has a fun time with it. Like he can do some stuff. Ruby's the actress of the family, so yeah. I need help, Amy, when it comes. You've got a daughter. I've been where you're going. Like it's. And I'm look. I sharpen my saw in communication because of Ruby. All right, I swear it's the only reason I have success is my daughter Ruby.
She makes you work for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
She gets me thinking on questions on a higher level, Amy.
Right. That's great. Well, you pointed out. So this morning when you told me in our BNI meeting, and you said brunette with a blue sweater, and I was like, what are you like? I totally forgot that I had sent out a newsletter last night, a mini newsletter about my obsession with England and how it came to be. But I have a picture of me in 2000 with a group picture, and I said, "Can you spot me?" And Jamie, I'm very impressed that you could spot me.
Not only did I spot you, if I was a gambler, which I'm not. I'm not a gambler. I'm not a spieler. I don't gamble. However, if I was to take a shot in the dark
Mhm.
as to where you were when that picture was taken,
Oh, that's a very good question. Yeah, tell me.
you were you were at the Tower of London.
Nope, we were not. We were in
You look.
Windsor Castle.
Ah,
We were
that would have been my second.
Oh no.
You know what? You're looking like I can see the centuries-old building in the
Right.
background
Yeah,
with you,
like the
and
same, like
by the Tower of
stones.
London, you've got the green with the same stones.
Mhm.
The Windsor Castle seems like it had a different color tone than the Tower of London.
It
That's what I
does.
went based
So
on.
I'm trying to remember if we were actually in front of the castle or if we were just in Windsor, because we were like spending the day in Windsor.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, and they said
I went to Windsor.
I went to
House of Windsor. I went to the House of Windsor a couple of years back. Funny
Oh,
enough, and
really?
that's why. Yeah, it was very. I mean, like back in the days when we could travel. I feel like we're talking about medieval times. You know, back in the days when we could travel, we could actually leave our homes and go and jump on an airplane
medieval
and go
times when you
to.
could fly on an
Yeah,
airplane.
yeah. Like wow, it's gonna be.
Yeah, it'll be
Like,
it'll
okay,
be
so I got
crazy
that
when we
right.
get
You know
back to it.
what? I
Mhm.
really wanted to have got that right. That would have taken me to Jeff Singletary level if I would have got
I know.
that
Well,
right
and
on
I
that
was really
picture.
excited because I thought, I was like, because Windsor's not like the immediate thought. So I'm sorry, it's live, so it's
No,
out there now.
no. Listen? There's only. I would say that is a good tourist. If someone was to say, Jamie, where should I go? I would say Tower of London all day long is
Oh
the
yeah,
first attraction you should go to.
yes, mhm.
It's quite fun. I'll tell you a true story.
Yeah,
All right. So I had an ex-girlfriend. All right, in
mhm,
college. All
mhm.
right, when I was at Rollins. And anytime people from Rollins would come to England during the holidays, I would
Yeah,
look to play host. It was just like, come over and I would show them around.
mhm.
And so she came across to England and we were planning out the days. And me not knowing any different, I was like, oh, okay, one day we'll do Buckingham Palace. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, great. Like thinking this will be it's a day activity.
yeah,
So we go out there, we see the changing of the guards, all right? Like we're looking at the house
mhm.
and I just start looking at my watch and I'm like, we're looking at the house. I'm like, okay. Like, so like
Yeah,
the point is people, if Americans are going over to London
right,
and they're looking to go do Buckingham Palace,
right,
it's not an all day affair. All
right,
right, you're
right.
literally looking at a
And
house.
well, an important note is if you go in this, I believe it's usually the summertime is when the queen is not there. They do have tours inside, but you have to go when the queen is not there. So I've been
See, I
inside for
think
tours, but it was summer. Yeah.
so I
Mhm.
know that when the flag's at half mast or something, it means the queen is
Oh yeah,
is
whether she's
in
in or not.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, no, but we watch Changing Guards. But just a note, an education for people out there:
Yes.
don't
And
think that. But you're better off doing Buckingham Palace and then maybe going to Harrods and doing a little
yes,
bit of shopping where the Queen shops if you
yes.
fancy doing the royal. Did you walk around Harrods?
I have walked around Harrods, yes,
Did
and
you buy anything?
what did I buy? I bought some Christmas ornaments in their like Christmas world area because I
I
also
bought.
love Christmas.
You know, true story.
Yeah.
I took six of us to Harrods last
Mhm.
2 years ago. We went, and I took six of us, and out of all the places we chose to eat, we ate in the American diner inside Harrods. All
Oh
right,
my
because
gosh.
I remember like, and you're talking around $260 for
Right.
six of us to have a lunch. Yeah, no, you're nodding your head. No, I
And
like.
have American cuisine.
Yeah, and then I bought some. I think I bought like one little item just to say I shopped in Harrods,
Right, right.
like there. But it was very amusing.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's a good place. That's there. So that's the tip I've got for people is if you want to buy something in Harrods that you'll cherish, if you have a Christmas tree, do Christmas ornaments because they are not all that expensive, especially some of them. And yeah, so like my mom, I brought her back a bunch in 2006, and she still has them, and I've got some, and yeah. So go for the ornaments. um, But shoot, there was something else that you were talking about. We were talking about places to go, and another
What's happened
place.
to the? Has something happened to the screen?
I can still see in here. Can you see
I
in
don't know.
here?
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You come
Okay.
back again. Okay,
Okay.
very strange. All
Yeah.
right, but we'll go with it.
Yeah. This is what virtual tea time is. There's technical difficulties throughout.
Okay,
But
wonderful. We're
everyone,
rolling. We're rolling with the
we're rolling.
punches.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I really like, so my favorite piece of, I don't know, architecture or whatever in the world is Tower Bridge. A lot of people incorrectly call it the London Bridge. It's not, but it's
Yeah,
Tower Bridge, the big pretty
London
one.
Bridge is in Arizona.
Right, right.
Okay.
So the Tower Bridge, I just think it's so beautiful to me, especially like lit up at nighttime, just everything. But I found the exhibition part, like that you pay to go up and do the museum part, very boring. Not worth it at all.
So what you're
And
saying is just go to look at the Tower Bridge.
exactly. Go to
Yeah.
look at it in the daytime, go to look at it at nighttime, walk across it. But what we wanted to do was go up in it so we could go across those walkways. Well,
Right.
for safety reasons, they've now enclosed them. So like you just feel like you're in a normal hallway. You don't feel like you're really up that high, so it doesn't
I'll
feel
tell you
safe.
the best thing to do by Tower Bridge
Mm-hmm.
is the Borough Market.
Oh, okay. I haven't done that.
Oh yeah, Borough Market, and you can get a proper bacon and sausage sarnie.
Oh, nice.
They're like a proper like bacon and so I don't want to sound crude, but British sausage is a lot better than American sausage.
It
Like
is.
some of the things I miss about England is the food, and bacon
Mhm.
is different too. All right,
Right. It is very
we have
different.
a Danish bacon is different than a.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I love America. Very proud of my American. All right, there's just some things that in England, in food wise,
Yes. And
and
I
we have
love
very
like the
different.
full.
We have different names of dishes.
Well,
Americans are
that's true.
fascinated when I say like toad in the hole. They're like, you
I
what?
know. I still need to try that. I know. I love Yorkshire
I make
pudding, and I
I make a
love
decent I make a
English
decent
sausage.
I
Yeah,
make a decent toad in the hole.
I'm gonna have to do that one of these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you said
Right.
it's not all that hard, right? Isn't
It's
not really
it,
that.
it well. I mean, Yorkshire pudding. Like
Oh, that's the tricky
my
part.
ex-wife,
Yeah.
I can make fun of her. She made them one so hard they were like missiles. If they hit you, you were dead.
Right. Right.
Like, but, shout out to Rachel. There you go.
Right.
Like,
That's great.
I'll really know if she watches this or someone's watched this and tells her, we'll know people are viewing.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Like,
that's good. Yeah, and we've got a buzz going about it.
yeah. What
Well,
are these missile Yorkshire puddings?
right,
Like,
right. Yeah, yeah. We heard all about your Yorkshire pudding.
yeah.
Well, also when you're talking about the Tower of London, so this is a fun fact that I can only like halfway claim. But so my ex-husband, his family were related to, like, they trace back to a guy named Lord Terrell, and
Okay.
Lord Terrell is related to is part of the princes, you know, the two princes in the Tower of London that were like mysteriously murdered. They like disappeared. So it was, I'm gonna forget now which Richard it was, maybe Richard III. There's like two theories of who was responsible for their death, because they didn't want them like growing, you know, like basically taking over the throne. So they killed these princes to get them out of the way so that they could be king. And it was like their uncle. But my point is that Lord Terrell was kind of like the middleman. So he like kind of was the go-between between like Richard III and like whoever he had actually killed the two princes. So,
You know that if he's related, you know that he could actually get married. You could have got married in the cathedral inside Tower of London.
but what
There's
if,
there's like bodies buried beneath that cathedral in the Tower of London.
really?
However, they say anyone who's associated in that way can get married in that cathedral. So,
Well, we didn't
as you
know.
were talking, by the way, I've never actually, I can't get it because I would get off and people would be like, oh, did it end? But as I'm looking at my wall, I've got an actual authentic letter from the King of England to
What?
my great grandfather who fought in World War One. World War One as a pilot is when they put planes together with tape and what have you. And it's a picture of him, and he's buried in Paris, and he's got a letter from the King of England saying thank you for his services in
Oh
World
my
War
goodness.
One. King
That's
George.
amazing. That's
Yeah,
super cool. Well, you're gonna have to post
thank
that
you.
later.
Thank you for telling me I'm super cool.
Yeah, you
Appreciate
are
that.
super cool.
I love it when women are telling me I'm right too. It's such a rarity, but it happens from my client. My female clients are always telling me I'm right, and I'm like, keep going.
Yes,
Like, it's
yeah.
such a blessing.
Yeah, well, you often are, you know, when you're teaching.
Thanks for taking away the glory there.
You're welcome.
Okay,
You're
so
welcome.
yeah, when I'm not teaching, you're never right, Jamie. But like
That's hilarious. Well, I guess I see you teaching more often than not, maybe.
yeah,
So
no.
this is the setting where I get to like
I'm just
try
saying
and catch you.
I'm just saying it never gets old.
Right.
All right, like
Just like it never gets old when, you know, British people tell me that I'm more British.
yeah. I will bow down to that, Amy. You are definitely more.
Thank you.
British than me.
Thank you.
Apart from an accent that I kept because it helps me out a lot to keep it.
Right.
If I lost it, it would really be, it wouldn't help me too much out here.
Right. Yeah, I'm saying if I moved, maybe I could like reinvent myself and create a British accent and just never tell.
If you live there long enough, you never know. Like you
Yeah.
could pick it up.
Right.
So.
But now I want to try to figure out Cockney. I want to figure out what that seems very tricky. Yeah, to learn like, from scratch. But okay, so I feel like I actually have someone else coming up, a BNI person that I don't know. We know each other. We met each other through the round table, the BNI round table,
Okay.
and the virtual one. And when I posted that I'm taking, guests for virtual tea time, he took me up on that offer. So I'm going to have like a BNI one-to-one / virtual tea time live on Facebook.
And what does he do?
He is. Well,
we're giving a plug for a business right now.
I'm gonna find out what he does. I should know already, but his name is Michael Clark. So we'll find out what chapter he's from and everything. But my point was that I sadly have to wrap up.
Oh, okay. Well, no. That's an appropriate way to do so. Diplomatic of you, Amy. It's been a pleasure having tea with you.
Thank you so much. And I've been meaning to tell you for a while since we've been doing Zoom so much. I love that you have Foxtail Coffee in the background since before the coronavirus days, that was your office.
And it will be again. Please God, it will be again. Yes.
But in the meantime, you've created your own Foxtail atmosphere.
Absolutely. If I pointed upwards, Amy, I've got farts and fries written on the wall too. But that's a different story for a different day.
I love that one now.
For my kids. So. Amy, it's been an absolute pleasure being on, having tea with you. It's been most pleasurable, pleasant.
Yes.
And
thank you so much, Jamie. I do appreciate it.
Okay, let's hope the viewers out there appreciate it too.
That's right. So we can, we'll sign off and do, you can stop the live in a minute, and then we'll see each other backstage. But I'd like to end with, since you're on it, whether you agree or not, I'd like to say, God save the Queen.
Oh, God save the Queen.
God save the Queen.
I feel like I should start singing the national anthem.
I know. She did just turn 94 yesterday.
Oh, she's a classy woman. She's the only one I like.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good then.
I mean, I like William too, but other than the Queen and William, I think that there's not much royal about them.
Then you need to watch the Windsors on Netflix because you'll love it. You'll love the way they do the characters. Okay. All right. Again, God save the Queen.
Amy, God save the Queen. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right. I'll do the end stream.